Today I want to talk about hindsight. Now, there's this trend out there at the moment where everyone talks about their failures and they're all online discussing, I failed 100 times and you've got to fail 1,000 times and that's how you get better. And, there's truth to that. I mean, I've done that. um, but I think it can also be an excuse for failing over and over and over. I'll just explain what I mean, because obviously failure is inevitable and it's part of learning and life and definitely business. But what if you could mitigate that? What if you had foresight instead of hindsight? And how do you get that foresight? Because it's completely impossible for any leader, no matter how fabulous your product is. And there's examples of incredibly huge corporations, one of them being called the government. I know in the UK recently they launched a campaign. They had to withdraw quickly. It must have cost them a mint. And they had, because it was just totally uncool. It was a campaign that affected the arts, and the messaging was just so bad and so offensive. They had to pull it. And this happens to companies all the time. There was that, I know in some countries that a perfume that was really offensive racially and that had to be pulled. I'm not going to mention all the brands, but you know what I mean? There's lots of examples out there of just, it was the wrong move and it was a big failure and a big lesson. And for a small business, on a small scale, that could be the only money you had lost. It could be something as simple as transferring funds, doing it from a bank account instead of through a foreign money exchange and saving yourself hundreds of pounds, hundreds of dollars. Just little things that you don't know that you learn along the way all the time. So how do you mitigate failure? How do you mitigate wrong decisions, especially when you're on a really tight budget, or even if it's not super tight, but low, because let's face it, budgets have to be managed. The way to do that is with foresight. How do you get foresight if, as a human, there's no way we can think of everything? The way you get it is with a mentor. So this is the value of bringing a mentor into your team. A mentor isn't the expert that comes in. It's not like, in some organizations, a mentor is considered someone who knows more than you and they'll come in and they will teach you. I'm not talking about that kind of mentor. I'm talking about the kind of mentoring work that I do, which is such a privilege, where I come in and I work with a leader, and a leader can be a sole trader, or it can be a company, it can be a team. And I stand shoulder to shoulder with you. And together, I listen, I deeply listen. And with all my experience and all my mistakes of running companies, which I've started and sold 4 companies, 4 brands in the last 30 years. So you can imagine there's a lot of learnings and small and large lessons in there. And I give a fresh perspective. I listen deeply and I really look at the product before you launch. Now, this could be a physical product, it could be a digital product, it could be a course, it could be a book. And I really, with all my experience, come in and deeply listen and deeply give vision to that product. And I give foresight. Have you thought of this? What if it happened this way? How would it be received that way? I mean, you're so in your late nights and tiny details, which are inevitable. And, you could be tired, you could be overwhelmed, maybe people are coming at you and, you're running this thing. I come in as a really calm force, no matter how beautiful your product is, no matter how excited and proud you are of it. In fact, even more so when you're feeling that. And let's just have another perspective on what's going on here. Who's the team? Are they aligned? Even myself, I'm too close to my own business. I have a mentor for myself on automatic dial, as well as monthly check-ins. If I didn't have that, there's things I just wouldn't think of. They just give me insights, and that's what I do for other people. So you're the expert, but you're too close to your own business. So you've got to be able to trust someone and build a relationship with someone that can give you that perspective and sort of maybe remind you of your core vision, or, when you've got the balls in the air, that I can just come in and maybe catch one. So that's when I come in. My role is to be that calm force where my focus is completely on your success, completely on your goals. They're not mine, they're yours. And I just step into this calm space in your shoes, and we look at the product and we really check that everything's been thought of. Or maybe that sometimes there's a better way to do it, or a different way to say it. Maybe you haven't quite got the message aligned with your target market. We need to look at that. But I'm working shoulder to shoulder with you. Have compassion. I'm a companion, and your success is my success. And yeah, I want to stop your late nights and your worrying. And for me, and any mentor you work with, that's a product mentor, you'll always feel my support and my respect for you when you're working together. You'll really feel like I've got your back. And when you feel supported, when you feel mitigated, I guess, you can just get there. You can get where you're wanting to go with so much more joy, and so much more likelihood of getting there. And if that could save some of the mistakes, if you could go from 100 failures to 69 failures, that would be cool. Maybe you didn't have to waste some money. Some people think they can't afford a mentor, and it's like, well, the joke is that if you're not paying the mentor, you're paying someone else that could be the wrong decision. So one of the most lovely feedback I often get is what a great investment it is, and how I do save the money. And everyone I work with at some point says, gosh, you've just saved me a fortune. And it's like, yeah, cool, that's good. So sometimes it's about money, sometimes it's about inner peace, sometimes it's about just being able to sleep better, sometimes it's about health, sometimes it's about changing the timeline, sometimes it's just about going, you're 99% there, but what would this 1% do? And I always love the example of an aeroplane. A pilot would tell you that even half a degree out could crash them into a mountain. So a tiny tweak sometimes could just change the whole gravity and direction of your product. So wouldn't that be worth getting a mentor on board for? So yeah, foresight or hindsight? What would you like? That's what I wanted to talk about today. And I want to explain the difference between the kind of expert mentor and a perspective shoulder-to-shoulder mentor, which is the kind of work I do. If you'd like to have a chat, we don't talk about money for the first chat or two. We just see if there's synergy and see if there's a need for you to get someone on board like me. And if there is, then we go forward. But until then, it's free to have a chat. So I'm going to put the link above. Please check in. Let's see if you need some support. If you're about to launch a product, please contact me. I feel very protective of people about to launch products. And it would be my privilege and honor to work with you if we have the right synergy. So think mentor as part of any team you're creating.